It's time for the One Bar and Lupagus Show, bringing you anything and everything Minnesota Vikings.
Welcome to professional football.
Hello and welcome to the One Bar and Lupagus Show. I am Lupagus here solo today, and I'm going to talk about Josh Kline and if there's a chance he might return to the Vikings in 2020 and what would have to happen for that to become a reality. All right, until then, be sure to subscribe to our channel, like our vids. We're closing in slowly on 600. It's been a real tough climb, like Miley Cyrus once sang about, but we're getting there, one rung at a time. All right, so Josh Kline. Will he be coming back to the Vikings this year or not? Well, let's just talk about what happened with Josh Kline. You know, he was the Vikings' second best offensive lineman a season ago, yet the team felt the need to cut him to save just about $1 million, which I think helped them to sign Michael Pierce. But on an offensive line that has had issues, especially on the interior, to cut your best guard was quite shocking, and it still chaps my ass to this day that the Vikings did that. So what would have to happen for the Vikings to sign him this season so he comes back and plays for the Vikings? Well, I think the first thing would have to be an injury to one of the projected starters, whether that's Elflein, DeKoser, or Drew Samia, whoever it ends up being. If someone gets hurt, even a key depth piece like Oli Udoh goes down, the Vikings are suddenly even more thin at the position. They may reach out to their former guard and see if he wants to have another go-around in purple. The other thing, too, is that these young guys are not progressing. If Drew Samia just does not show like he can start, and the Vikings do not want to rely on Elflein and Dakota Dozier to be their guards, they could look to bring Josh Kline back. Same thing, Oli Udoh, if they move him to guard and he's real slow to learn, that could be another issue that causes them to give Josh Kline a phone call and see what his interest is in returning to the team. And then there's also reasons why Josh Kline couldn't or won't come back this year, and I think the biggest one is he might just be pissed off if the Vikings cut him. If I was at my job, felt like I did a good job all year long, and then I got released or fired, I'd be pissed off. Kline did what the Vikings wanted him to do. He was a great run blocker, opened up huge holes for Delvin Cook and Alexander Madison. He was pretty solid in the pass game, anchoring, keeping Kirk Cousins upright. He had a rookie next to him who was really struggling at times in pass protection, so sometimes Josh Kline maybe felt like he had to do more than just his own position. Again, I would be pissed off if I was him, and I would actually want more money than what they cut me for. So definitely, if there's hard feelings there with Josh Kline in his camp, that could be a huge reason why he doesn't come back to the Vikings. Another reason that maybe these young guys do play well and they do show that they can be starters. Drew Samia looks to be everything the Vikings thought he was when he took him with the 4th-round pick last year. That could be something that, hey, we don't need Josh Kline. Let him sit, and we're not calling him at all because we're good. Hopefully that's the case. That's what the Vikings are hoping for. Maybe a young guy like Blake Brandel or Higbee, or one of these undrafted late-round guys. I can't even think of that frickin' guard they drafted late. Anyway, if one of those late guys emerge, shockingly, again, that could be enough things for the Vikings to say, hey, we have enough depth here. Or if Oli Udoh is a successful transfer from tackle inside, if that is something they do and he shows he can handle it, they may feel they're fine. So that is what the Vikings are hoping for. That is their best case scenario. The other thing, too, why Josh Kline might not come back and might not play again is just his health. He had multiple concussions a season ago. NFL players are being much more cautious with their long-term health, especially when it comes to concussions. And Kline can feel like, hey, you know what? I made enough money. I put my time in. I don't want to get, further concussed and potentially, have some health issues down the road. So that could be a reason why Kline just says, hey, I'm done with football. And, so he might not be back in purple for that reason. So at this point, Josh Kline coming back to the Vikings is very much a question mark. It could happen, but, for the Vikings, if it doesn't happen, and it's the reason that their young guards are playing well, that's the best case scenario for them. So that's all I got today, guys. We'll be back later in the week for some delicious more Vikings nuggets, and they'll be extra crispy.